Okay, everybody, now we're ready to start. Okay, so I'm going to start by passing out some things we need for class just to get situated. So welcome, I should say welcome to the Non-Toxic Living Workshop. I'm Sasha with I Do Yoga. I'll try to settle down when I'm super hyper. So let's just start with things we need. Okay, so I feel like I'm in school. I got to hand out the paper. It's been a long time since I've been in school. Also, I have pens. I'll hand those out in a second as well. You don't have to worry about a pen if you don't want to have brand new ones, but that's okay. How you doing, Haley? Good to see you. Other than virtually.
Yes.
Like there's life outside of social media? What?
Yeah.
All right, wakey, wakey. I should say that to myself. I'm the one that's not awake. I know, I'm hyper. I'm a type A hyper crazy person. Okay, one more thing I'll give you. I'm very excited about today's class. Okay, if you want, I have pens if you want. We have nice little messages. I debated, oh, you're good. I debated whether I should give you guys snarky pens or nice pens. And I decided we better do nice because I don't want to offend people. I'll probably offend somebody in this class, I'm sure, by telling you not to use a certain product. So let's just start off on a good note. And so those are yours to keep. You don't have to return those after class. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is you're going to use your little postcard thing, and on the back, we're going to play a game called Dirty Little Secrets. So these are going to be read out. You don't have to participate if you don't want to, but I'm going to read these out loud to people, so don't write like I'm having an affair or something like that, because I don't want to read that out loud. And you don't put your name on it either, but like dirty little secrets, like what's something that is your dirty little secret that you don't mind sharing with people? Not really technically dirty, like family-friendly dirty. Also not going to break up a relationship dirty. So just, you can write down one thing, and then once you do, I'll come back by and collect everything. You can see I already put mine on there. And if you don't want to participate when I come around, you can just, brush me off. Thank you. No, I really do feel like I'm in school. You all are getting A's. Mind over matter, right? Are you going to do it or are you going to pass? Are you doing it? Okay. Oh, okay, cool. Okay. Did I already get hers? I can't remember. All right. Are you going to write a novel? No, I'm kidding. Are you telling us all your dirty secrets? That's going to be a good one. That's going to be a good one. Once upon a time, way back in college, when I used to drink, we could. I did go to Rolla. They are big drinkers. Those boys, I had to keep up with a bunch of boys. No, sounds good. The more the merrier. Now the fun part. Okay, so I shared mine, which I think there's so many I could put. Yeah, I put my horrible sinful thing is the Impossible Whopper. It's awful. It's not nutritious. And then little bits of my blood and body become made of that stuff. But sometimes it's so good. The Impossible Whopper? It's at Burger King, first of all. And it's made of XYZ, don't know. I'm sure something in a Petri dish. Yeah, it's the pink stuff. You know, it's not a green smoothie, let's just put it that way. Okay, so these are all in some random order. No one's gonna know who's who, but here we go. I'm excited to see what these say. I occasionally enjoy a Manhattan or two before dinner. It's a good one. I never had a Manhattan. I love after a long day of work to come home and watch trash TV, reality TV shows. I may or may not do that. Sometimes I don't try as hard as I should. That's something that's good to realize. I am a caffeine junkie. I think a lot of people relate to that one. Every day about 4 p.m., I enjoy some dark chocolate treats. Happy day. That's a good one. That actually can be a good one. I keep cheap bottled water in my car at all times. And let me see, every Tuesday, my daughter and I get Sonic after softball practice. Well, you can go to Burger King with me sometime. And instead of eating a cookie, I eat a row of cookies. Who doesn't? Who eats a cookie? That's not possible. It's just not. That's another one of my sinful pleasures would be cookies. Well, thank you for participating in that. I think that's always fun. So the reason I did this game is just to show you guys that, so we're in a non-toxic living workshop, right? One of my biggest pet peeves of people getting into non-toxic living is thinking you have to be perfect, you have to do it all at once, and that you don't ever go to Burger King and get an Impossible Whopper. Because just because you are trying to be non-toxic and live clean and healthy doesn't mean, first of all, it's going to be a process and it's going to take time to change unless you're some sort of crazy superwoman that can do that. Second of all, you're not going to be perfect, and sometimes you're going to have little things that are dirty, and that's why you have a liver that hopefully is an optimal working capacity so it can filter these things out. And also because we're all human and we're all going to have cravings, and people they get too hard on themselves when they, go through the drive-thru or something, and sometimes we need a break. And if that means you have an easy dinner and it's fast, your body will recover. It's miraculous at healing. And so I just want you to keep that in mind as we talk about this non-toxic workshop today, because it is going to be a process. So getting to a non-toxic lifestyle is going to take change after change. Because I came to mine 20 years ago when I got pregnant with my first child. And then the minute you have life in you, you immediately start thinking about the things that go on you, in you, around you. And it was a very slow process. And now 20 years later, I have another young one, and I've done things a lot different. And there's even stuff I would have done more different. But the point is that you're going to take maybe decades to get to a point where you feel like you're living cleaner. So with that said, we're going to start with one of my favorite things to talk about as far as, so being non-toxic is not only about what you eat, the things around you, and actual toxins, but it's also about what can you do to release toxins, and also we'll talk later about relationships, because there's more than just physical things that deal with toxicity. So right now I'd like to talk a little bit about breath work. And so I have 3 breath works we're going to go over. And feel free, if you want to take notes, that's why you have a piece of paper and a pen, because we're going to cover lots of information. But I also don't mind sending this to you via email if you want to, have the teacher's notes to refer back to later. So the first breath work I want to talk about, because breath work is great for detoxifying your body, increasing your oxygen, helping to keep your body at that optimal working state so all your organs function properly. And that's why I love incorporating it in yoga. So I have 3 different pranayamas. We're going to actually go through the techniques that you can learn to take home with you, hopefully, and use at different points in your life off the mat. The first one is for morning time. I say morning time. I call it a morning time breath because it's invigorating, and you don't want to do this right before you go to bed. It's called I'm super hyper. I need to settle down. It's called skull shining breath. It's Kapalabhati breathing. And so if you have any sort of contraindications such as heart problems, blood pressure issues, high or low, pregnancy, this is not something you necessarily want to do. So you might just want to skip that part. I have none of those that I know of, so we'll give it a go. So I'm just going to go through the breathing techniques, explain it, tell you some benefits, and then we'll get to this section in just a bit where we'll practice them so that you can, again, use them later. So the way this works is it's a simple breathing technique. They say it's advanced, but you take a deep breath in to start, and then your main emphasis will be on the breath out, and your stomach will pump out as you forcefully exhale all the air out, and it's quick. So you'll take a deep breath in, and then you'll push it out real fast. And when you push it out real fast, you try to exhale all your air. And when you do that, your next inhale is going to be passive, meaning all your air is going to be gone. You're going to want to take a next breath, even if you're not thinking about it. So that's why we call it passive. So it's something like this. Deep breath in. Hence the tissue. This is the one we need the tissue for. So anyway, so if you see, you can even put your hand on your belly, because when you take that first deep breath in and you exhale out, you feel it pop, don't you? It pops. Well, it pop. It's going in. So your stomach's pumping in every time you're exhaling out. So if that makes sense, we're going to practice this after we go over some of the benefits and these other breathing techniques as well. But that is something great that you can do when you need to be invigorated, when you need to wake up instead of whoever the caffeine junkie is. So instead of maybe a cup of coffee at 2 o'clock, maybe you sit down and do 3 rounds of this breathing if it's good for you. It generates heat in your body because you're actively doing this breathing exercise. And when you generate heat in your body, you will be expelling toxins. Kind of like when you sweat, when you sauna, when you sit in the sun, you're expelling toxins through your sweat, which is a great thing. It expands your lung capacity, which most pranayamas will do because the level of oxygen you're getting in there is going to help to do that. It strengthens your nervous system and your immune system, which also the other techniques will do as well. It increases your stamina, which is why you will find this breath done in like power yoga classes, not only to carry you through, but to also give you more stamina to make it through the rest of that class. Powers up your third chakra, which is your solar plexus, your stomach, which you can see why, because we're actively using that part of our body. And of course, increases blood flow and circulation. How can it not when you're breathing heavy? Delivers oxygen to your brain, which results in improved focus and concentration, and aids in digestion also because we're contracting that diaphragm and expanding it. So that is Kapalabhati breathing. And the second one we're going to talk about is like my preferred afternoon breathing. And it's pretty much one of my favorites. It's alternate nostril breathing, which is Nadi Shodhana breathing. And this one is going to promote mental clarity, and it's going to balance the left and the right hemispheres in your brain. So anytime you're feeling kind of scattered and you know you need to center and ground, then this is a great technique to do. And the way that there's many ways it can be done. But the way that we'll do today is where you inhale through one nostril, exhale through the other, hence alternate nostril, and then we'll inhale through the opposite one and exhale through the other one. So they're both going to get equal time of inhale and exhale. And also, you know, you breathe at different points in the day. I have learned that you breathe out one nostril more than the other, and that's really weird, but if you ever check yourself in the middle of the day and you just blow out, like right now, I'm breathing more out of my left than my right. And so that alternates all throughout the day, which I just think is an yoga trivia. And it balances yin and yang, which again, masculine, feminine, the left and the right hemispheres, all of that balance that you need to have, this breath is balancing. So obviously it has all the other benefits of like helping oxygen, increasing circulation. Of course, not as much as a heavier breathing. It's more of a balancing, calming, and centering breath. So that'll be what I call afternoon breathing. And then the third one is our bedtime breathing. So this one is a 4-7-8 breathing. What that means is, and this one obviously is going to be for calming, helping you to sleep. And another thing I want to say about all the breathing techniques, especially this last one, is I don't know if you guys are well versed in doing breath work, but the more you do it and the more you practice it, the more benefits you reap from it, obviously, because the longer you do something like your muscles, the more you work them, the better they look. The more you work your lungs, the better they can work, the more oxygen they can take in. But also, the more you'll use this later in the day without even knowing it. It'll become second nature. Kind of like when you work out and your second nature is not to put your knee over your ankle because you're kind of aware of body alignment. Same thing with breath. So I can't tell you how many times as a stressed out type A mother, I throughout the day will sigh audibly and loud. And it will be a big inhale and and people around me sometimes in public because I don't even know I'm doing it. And they're just like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with that lady? And it's a release. And that's why your body will pick up these techniques and it will automatically do it in times of stress and out in public sometimes and without you even knowing until someone looks at you like you're crazy. So I think that's something important too, because like I always say, we practice stuff on the mat, not just to get fit, not just to get mentally right, but it literally moves into our life offside the mat. Offside, I talk weird, outside of the mat. So hopefully this breathing will help you with that as well. So the nighttime one will calm your mind, slow you down, hopefully promote better sleep. And obviously it always triggers the parasympathetic nervous system. You get out of the fight and flight, and that's the sympathetic system. And then you get more into the parasympathetic, which is rest, digest, and calm the heck down. So the 4-7-8 means we inhale for 4, we retain the breath for 7, and then you exhale through the mouth for 8. And this is a Dr. Weil. Weil, is that how you say his name? I never knew, and that's what I say. So we're going to say that's what his name is. He is someone I've always read his information on healthy living and stuff, but he came up with this breathing technique. And so we breathe out through our mouth, not often in yoga unless it's a big sigh out. So that's why this is a little different, and I wanted to include it because it's not just, you don't always have to breathe in and out through your nose all the time. That's great, and we should most of the time to filter things, but breathing out through the mouth is important. So also I will say when we do this breathing, the 7 count hold can be kind of hard for some people. So if you can't hold for 7, hold for what you can, and then exhale for what you can, and just do your own rhythm. Because if at first you need to do a different number and a different count, that's totally fine. You can work your way up to 4, 7, 8. Just know that's something that you can work toward. So with that in mind, let's get going with just a little, we'll do a little sample, like a little treat of all of those. So why don't you take a comfortable seat for some breath work where you can have a nice tall spine, however that is for you. You can sit on your knees, you can sit cross-legged, and then we'll just get started with a few rounds of Kapalabhati breathing. So let's just have a nice tall spine. We're only going to do, let's just do 1 round. It'll wake us up enough. And so we're going to do a count of 36, but you don't have to count. I'm going to try to. And then, again, if you need to stop, go ahead and feel free to stop. So before we get started, make sure your spine is nice and tall, but you're still kind of relaxed. And take a deep inhale through your nose. And then open and let it out through your mouth. And do one more like that where you inhale through your nose. Open your mouth. Let it go. And now we're going to start where you take a deep inhale through your nose and at your own pace, start pumping out. Now take a deep breath. Inhale through your nose. Let it go through your mouth, and maybe just close your eyes because I know you may feel a little lightheaded, and don't worry, that's okay. That's normal. Just let it subside. Just pause at the bottom. Just try to come back to a normal state of breathing. And enjoy that underestimated pause that we often rush through in yoga. And then as you're ready, let's take your middle finger and your pointer finger, place it on your third eye, and we'll move right into the alternate nostril breathing. From here, we're going to plug your left nose with your ring finger. We're going to inhale for the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause at the top for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale through the left for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause at the bottom. And then we're going to inhale through the left for 4, 3, 2,
1, and hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Plug the left, exhale right for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale right for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause at the top, plug the right, hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale left for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale left for 4, 3, 2, 1. Plug the left and hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more round. Inhale right for 4, 3, 2, 1. Plug the right and hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale left for 4, 3, 2, 1. Plug the left and hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then let it go. And then come back to that normal state of breathing. And then from here, we'll move right into the 4-7-8 breathing. This time, before we start, take a deep inhale through your nose. Open the mouth and let it go. And now we're going to inhale for the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Let it go. And then inhale again for 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Open your mouth. Exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last time, inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Retain for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale to let it all out. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then pause and take a deep inhale through your nose. Let it all go. And now just pause there. Close your eyes and just kind of sit with all the 3 breath works that you did. And then just see if you can take note and feel any after effects of either of the 3 practices that you just moved through. And then you can slowly open your eyes and then we'll come back to regular life. Okay, so now we're going to get started on the biggest part of non-toxic living. So hopefully you can use those pranayamas somewhere in your life. But the biggest part of actually living non-toxic is the actual toxins that surround us. And there are so many ways. We live in such a chemically overloaded country and earth now that it's impossible to eliminate all the toxins. It's not possible, no matter how good you are, unless you're some person on the top of a mountain somewhere. But I'm sure there's some up there too. So I would like to start, there's so many technical things, and I don't want to overwhelm you with all the technical information about different types of chemicals, but I am going to go over some of the most popular chemicals that you may have heard or that are buzzwords or you've heard about, and give you ideas of where they are and what they do to you. And what they do to you is never good. It's not going to be improve your health. So it might seem a little sad. So the first one, PFAS. I don't know if you've ever heard of PFAS. They're polyfluoroalkyls. You don't have to remember any of that stuff. But what they do is they bioaccumulate in your body. And bioaccumulation is something important to know for non-toxic living, because it means that whatever it is accumulating in your body over time. So lead does it, heavy metals do it, mercury, arsenic, and they're in surprising things like obviously paint, chocolate, foods. There's so many things that the heavy metals are in that you would be surprised about. But those accumulate in your body just like radiation does. Anytime you go to the dentist or the chiropractor or get an x-ray, that's always accumulating in your body. So that's always something to be aware about, because you may want to not do those things so much. So PFAS bioaccumulate, which means they accumulate over time.
The exposure has been linked to kidney and testicular cancer. So a lot of these, almost every one of these chemicals, I'm going to say, will have cancer in the side effects. And on that note, I have to say, it's not surprising. If you look around today at people who we may be living longer, but we're living miserable lives longer. I don't know about you, but I'd rather drop dead of a heart attack at 50 than live a horrible, degrading life past that. So I think that it's not a coincidence that all the chemicals that we're encountering are causing cancer, hormone problems, problems with pregnancies. I just wanted to point that out real quick. So then on that note, hormone disruption. So you'll hear me say endocrine interrupters a lot during this class today. I say it in my house all the time and people are like, oh, stop saying that. So hormone disruption, PFAS are really bad about that. And anytime you disrupt your hormones, you not only are disrupting possibly your fertility, but anytime you mess up your hormones, it messes up the whole working cycle of your body because your hormones kind of rule the roost. They help keep everything balanced and in homeostasis. So anytime we disrupt that, it's just not a good thing. Where PFAS are found, nonstick cookware. So they're in the coating of the nonstick cookware, but even worse than that is when you scratch your nonstick cookware, there's the heavy metals in the pans that then you're getting a great dose of PFAS and heavy metals. So just be aware if you use those. And another thing, I'm not trying to offend anyone. So if you use nonstick cookware, it doesn't mean I don't like you. It just means, hey, you might want to be aware. It's like why I haven't bought a griddle yet because it's nonstick. So just be aware it's in there, and if it's scratched, maybe you replace it. Other alternatives might be ceramic or cast iron or stainless steel, which is my go-to. Yeah.
How do you spell PFAS?
Oh, PFAS.
Oh, no.
Yeah, PFAS, yeah. And like I said, if you want, you can leave me your name after class and I will send you this technical mumbo jumbo. Okay, so, and also we're gonna have a Q&A at the end of class too, but you can, if you don't understand something, yes, please ask me, because you're like, what is this lady talking about? Okay, you know what? Copper for me is a no-go. Because why would I use something that potentially could, because copper builds up, copper is a heavy metal. It is a metal on the periodic table. So I am not going to want to use something I know there's a better alternative for. If there's ever a question, then it's a no for me. And so also, if you guys want to take notes too, so we can answer questions at the end of class, but if you don't understand what I'm talking about in the moment, definitely ask me. And then if you have a question about something else, I will definitely answer it after class too. Okay, nonstick cookware, good. Stain resistant and waterproof fabrics, which is like everything now, unless you can wear some organic, amazing $80 everything. Food packaging, which, all the plastic containers that we use, and anytime you go out to eat anywhere, even to vegan places. Cleaning products, sometimes they have PFAS in those. Firefighting foam, which I don't know who in here is going to be spraying that anywhere, but you never know. And drinking water, because don't look, but I had to grab my handy dandy water bottle, which is full of possibly PFAS and other things. And I wanted to say one more thing. So about PFAS, when they did a test, I don't know how many people, 97% of people had PFAS in their bloodstream when they tested. So if you were to go do testing, it would not be uncommon if we have it in our system, because I'm having it right now. We're breathing it in the air. So again, we try to just minimize the exposures where we can. I could not have this. I could have grabbed my cup out of the car had I been thinking. Okay, so that's one thing. The next thing, BPAs and the little tricky one that they try to make as an alternate for BPAs, BPSs. And those are bisphenol A and bisphenol S. So BPAs, and I'm sure you've heard of BPAs because it's all about plasticware, right? So here are what they do. Disrupt your hormones, increase risk of cancer, neurological effects, which means hyperactivity, aggression, impaired learning and memory, those types of things. Obesity and metabolic disorders, because when you disrupt your hormones, guess what it does? It messes with your metabolism. When you mess with your metabolism, you can't lose weight. And ironically, yoga pants like this, because I'm sure this was a gift, but I'm sure a lot of the yoga pants we wear today, especially if they come from a fast fashion place and they're super cheap, they're full of toxic dyes, probably flame retardant, BPAs probably for sure. And so what happens is we wear these all day, we sweat in them, we heat up in them, we go to bed in them, and you're wearing them all day, and your skin is absorbing. I don't care what people say where they're trying to say you don't absorb that much through your skin. If that's the case, I'd love to see these people rub some rat poison on there and say, hey, you got time? You rub it on there, just sit there, you're good. Just let it sit, let it soak, you're good. But it doesn't work that way. Your skin absorbs what you put on it, which is why they have hormone creams and all the other things that they have, vitamin patches. So when you wear your yoga pants, like I'm wearing, it possibly could be messing up our metabolism, messing up our hormones. So it's just something to be aware about. But again, we can't eliminate every exposure. We just can't. And then the last thing, cardiovascular disease. And who wants some of that? Not any of you I know. Where they're found, polycarbonate plastic. So plastics such as this, even if they say non-BPA, like the can linings, right? They might say non-BPA, but they might be using the BPS, which is just equally as bad. It's just they've come up, here's what they will do. They will have one chemical like glyphosate. Okay, let's just talk about glyphosate. I have to. Glyphosate's a pesticide. We're going to talk about it a little more when I get to food. When they spray glyphosate on, it's a known carcinogenic. They've been using it forever, spraying our food with it, and we've given our babies this food. This is disgusting. They just now banned that, okay, not long ago in America. It's been banned in other countries, but we have such horrible standards here, a lot less than the EU. So they banned it, but I would guarantee, I would almost put money on, because I'm a betting kind of gal, that they're coming up with or already have a new chemical, because there's not just one pesticide, but I'm sure that another chemical will just come step right in that place, and it will be just as bad or horrible, because spraying chemicals on food we eat just isn't an intelligent thing to do. But that's what they do, and that's where we live. So we'll talk more about how to eliminate that later. But I get off on these tangents because I get super upset about it. Okay, so where they are found, let's continue that. Epoxy resins, which coating the lining of the cans, and then dental sealants. So heavy metals are also in those too. So if you have any of the amalgam fillings and they're not ceramic or they're not something else, if they're plastic, you're putting plastics in your body. Ceramic is like the best choice. I have some ceramics. I don't have any of I got all the amalgams out, but that's something else to think about is when you have those things in your body, you permanently have that metal in your body and it's not leaving and it's there. Same thing with the plastic and it's giving you all the bad stuff. So it's just something to think about. Thermal paper receipts, which is I think just recent for people to understand. When you go to the store, they hand you the receipt. It only takes 5 seconds before a high level, as much as what's in this water bottle, the whole thing. You drink this whole thing, you're getting some BPAs. You hold that receipt for 5 seconds, you're getting BPAs. So if you got to shop a lot one day, you're getting lots of BPAs. So my recommendation for that is either get paperless receipts, don't get a receipt, or just hold it like a crazy person. I've seen people wear gloves a lot too, cashiers and stuff. So next thing, VOCs. VOCs are volatile organic compounds. Now, those are like things like benzene, toluene, formaldehyde, and xylene. And I'll tell you what, we use these things. I come from chemical engineering as a student because I graduated as a chemical engineer. We were using benzene. I don't know about the others, but I know we were using it. And I'm just like, oh, we weren't always wearing gloves. We were breathing it. We're in a closed room. Don't even get me started. But anyway, so VOCs, here's what they do. Cause cancer, shocker, respiratory problems, allergies, neurological, defects, and headaches, which goes with the brain. They are found in cleaning items. Furniture is a big one. Building materials, so when you build a house, the smell you smell, the new home smell, VOCs, give me some of that. Neurological effects, I already said that. Oh no, I'm on the wrong thing. And personal care products, so things you put on and use for your beauty. It could have VOCs in it, which is crazy because formaldehyde is sometimes put in your beauty products. I can't even believe that's a thing. I'm not sure, but I won't doubt it. I don't doubt it because every day there's a new thing that happens. Okay, so moving on to the next toxin, phthalates, okay? Phthalates are found to disrupt your endocrine system, respiratory problems. So now we're adding more, right? It's like if we didn't cover one, we're going to cover it, right? Allergic reactions, neurodevelopmental problems like ADHD and cancer. Not shocking. I should just say cancer across the board. We're done. And let's see. They are found in a lot of consumer products. So phthalates are in plastics, cosmetics, and fragrances are very bad about phthalates. So all those Glade candles that y'all are loving, I am not a fan and I cannot support it, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Okay, so the endocrine disruptors. Remember how I keep saying endocrine disruption? It's like, stop saying it. My family literally, if they had $1 for every time I say that. So that causes or can cause reproductive issues, which a lot of people have trouble with nowadays, developmental problems, which I think we see a lot of, metabolic disorders, again, losing weight and gaining weight, and neurological problems and cancer. So, okay, now let's move on. So that's like just a little bit about chemicals, okay? Obviously they're bad and we don't want them, but they're in everything. So let's talk about ways to clean up your life, okay? And it's so hard. It's like, how do you tell people how to start detoxifying your life? Because there's 8 million things that you could do. Let's just go piece by piece. Number 1, households. That's where we're going to start your household. First, not the first thing. One of the things you can do is clean the air in your house. Ways to do that. Make sure your filters are changed regularly in your HVAC system. I am really bad about that because for me, like a year goes like in a second. So it's bad, but you got to kind of try to keep on top of that. Get an air purifier. So if you don't have an air purifier, I highly recommend one. I have a couple in my house because definitely one in your bedroom where you sleep because you spend 33% of your time there or more. So in your bedroom, and I always have one in the living room. So where you guys spend the most time. And the biggest thing you could do for your house, because if you've ever looked up indoor air pollution, you might want to jot that down, but indoor air pollution, it's crazy to think that the place we spend 90% of our time, most of us, is more polluted than if you step outside your front door. Maybe not in LA, but here for sure. So the best thing you could do for your house is open your windows. And I can't tell you how many people in the city block I live on, no one's opening their windows. It's me and my loud music, just me. But I'm telling you, you gotta open those windows regularly and not just like when your cat poops. You gotta open it like frequently to get, your air you just gotta get that airflow going. And even if it's cold, I don't care if it's winter, get it aired out real quick and then shut the windows, So that's one thing you can do there. Oh, and then here's another thing. So I don't know if it necessarily does with air quality, I didn't know where to put it. The biggest rule in my house is do not wear your shoes in my house. Don't wear your shoes. Don't even step in. There's a part, if you step, I'm going to yell at you. So here's why. So besides the fact it's dirty and gross, like how many of you had to go pee in a gas station bathroom, okay? Nasty. I do it all the time because I travel. It's disgusting. So here's what's on the bottom of your shoe. Pesticides, which not good. E. coli, poop, ew, and it's not yours. And it's animals and people's. PFAS, I'm so sick of hearing that word, heavy metals. So not shocking, but so what you're doing, if you wear your shoes in the house, especially if you have kids, ew, they're gonna lick it and eat it. If you wear your shoes in your house, this stuff is getting in your air. And it's getting on your surfaces and on yourself, and you're inhaling more pesticides. You just don't want that crap in there. I'm not gonna lie, that's nasty. But hey, wear shoes in your house, wear them in your bed. Oh my gosh, one time, my husband started to put his shoes on the bed and I was half asleep. And this is early on. And I literally woke up and I said, what are you doing? I'm like, is that a shoe on the bed? I about freaked out. So I'm like, get those shoes off the bed immediately. No, that's immediate grounding. Okay, then we'll move on to, that's gross. Just lick your shoes. Okay, so moving on. Appliances and cookware we touched on earlier. So replacing your nonstick cookware. Air fryers, all the rage. If you've ever smelled an air fryer that's new that you turn on, smells disgusting, still smells to this day. It's the plastic heating up, releasing toxic chemicals in your air. So I'm not a fan of air fryers. I don't care what they're made of inside. The smell is not good. And if you have to use one, open your windows for gosh sakes, Be aware of anything that's coating any of your appliances, okay? So if you mix things up into a blender, don't put hot stuff in the blender. It's gonna release into your food and you're gonna eat it. Okay, furniture and bedding. So since I already told you we spend a lot of time in our bedrooms, some things that you can do it's called sleep hygiene. Okay, there's a name for everything now. So having an air purifier is important in your bedroom, I think. Starting to change, so obviously you can't go home right now and throw all your furniture out the door and be like, okay, I'm done, get it out the door and move on with your life. You can't do that. It's not feasible. You can't throw every sheet and clothing away. So slowly, one at a time, maybe you start, next time you need to buy pillowcases, maybe you buy organic cotton, like GOTS certified organic cotton, not like Amazon says it's organic, but they're full of crap cotton. So that's something, changing your sheets, maybe since our mattresses are full of crappy chemicals, right? The foam and the plastics and all those things I'm talking about are in our mattresses. They're off-gassing. So let's talk about off-gassing for a second. Off-gassing means the furniture, well, we're talking about furniture, look at that. The furniture, like you get from IKEA, you bring it home, you pop open the box, you put it together because it's never coming assembled. And that smell you smell, that is VOCs. That is gross. It's like, and paints also have VOCs. They have lower VOC now, but so anytime you get new furniture, even your old furniture, it off gases. Your shower curtains made of plastic. So if you get plastic shower curtains, you're heating it up and you're emitting more out every single time you take a shower. And that's all the time. So making sure that you maybe get a mattress cover, because we can't exactly shove our mattress outside and get some sunlight on it. If you can, great. But get maybe an organic mattress cover, again, GOTS certified if you can. Pillows, so the thing you lay your head on and breathe, so maybe you have a mattress and it's not organic. I don't have an organic one yet because they're expensive. Soon I will. But right now I have an organic pillow. And I think I got like an avocado pillow. I don't know. I can't remember. But it's an organic, GOTS certified again, filled with non-toxic things. And so you could get maybe just a pillow because your head's on it, or sheets or pillowcases. Just see where you can add in some of these healthier things. Yeah. Oh, GOTS. GOTS. Yeah, that's like a certification company or platform. Okay, so get rid of your shower curtain. That's a fast one you can do. Shower curtains are not that expensive. And I replace mine regularly anyway, because when you get the fabric ones, they're gonna mold. We also don't want mold in our house. So you can just, I know it sounds horrible, but that's what you gotta do. You can't have a moldy shower curtain. Throw it away, buy a new one. Regularly take care of that. And don't have plastic ones. So just get rid of those. They're just crap. You don't wanna use that. Okay, so the next thing, like I said, slowly start to just replace things. That's how this change is gonna happen. You slowly start to make these choices, but you now are thinking more like, okay, what does this have in it? What does this have in it? Is that good for me? What's that smell? If it doesn't smell like air, then not like polluted air, then there's probably something in it. The next thing, cleaning items. I think you all know, like Clorox. I'm gonna just call people out right now. Clorox, 409, Windex. And I'm Greek, so I'm not using Windex, but it's okay. I have my own version. It's like vinegar. Here, use some vinegar on that. That burns. So anyway, like you can find cleaner versions of products. And I was going to tell you what the exact ingredients were in Clorox, right? I was like Googling. I'm like, okay, why are they not on the bottle? Where are the ingredients for Clorox? What's the mystery? So I went to Google it, many places. The exact formula is nowhere that I can find. You can find active ingredients and some other stuff that's in it. But let me tell you, the active ingredients, no good, no good, no good. Water, good. Probably polluted, but whatever. So I just would really stay away. I mean, I would rather have a stain on my clothes than my family breathing in, because it also is known to cause asthma. So we don't want stuff like that in our house, especially if we're not airing our house out. So here are my replacements, okay? So my favorite all-time pre-made thing, because we don't have time to make everything because we're just that's not feasible. Branch Organics is my all-time favorite, and hopefully they'll not change the formula ever and they'll stay clean. They're one of the ones I order. It's like a concentration, and you can dilute it for windows, bathrooms, and multi-surface. Vinegar, good old vinegar. It's become so irreplaceable in my house. Baking soda, and then one other company, Puracy. They're probably second on my list. Branch is really my go-to. Puracy is my second. But just start trying to find cleaner alternatives of the things you're spraying in your house, because we want clean houses, but they don't need to smell like lemon, because anytime you're smelling a smell like that and it's not coming from fresh lemon juice, it is going to have those phthalates in it, and you're going to smell that and inhale it in an enclosed shower. You know how when you spray, I used to spray the Fantastic, right? Oh my gosh, kill me. Fantastic and Lime Away. That's how I grew up. As sparkly as that looked, the breathing, like I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm dying. And I thought I was going to die. I did it when I was pregnant too. I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm trying to not breathe. I'm like, so talk about retaining your breath when you're pregnant. But it's just not good. So find cleaner household items to use. I've heard of it. No, it's like what? For silver?
It's silver is what it has in it.
Colloidal silver?
Silver. So, like, we use it on, like, surgical dressings now, too.
Well, it's similar to colloidal silver, right? So colloidal silver is silver particles suspended in water. And I use that all the time. I like colloidal silver. It's replaced my hand sanitizer, by the way, which we'll talk about in just a second when it comes to personal products. I don't know much about that, so I can't really comment on it, but I know silver has great properties. So, yeah, no, I'm not really, like, I don't use it personally, so I can't really vouch for it, but it is something, because like I said, I'm a teacher, but I'm a student as well. I'm a student and a teacher, so it's good to have these conversations as well. Yeah. My dad got very sick, and they used it in his dressings. You had to wet it with saline, put it on his foot, because he had diabetic ulcers. So yeah, I think that it's the similar concept as the colloidal silver water. So I mean, I am a fan of that, so I probably would be a fan of that, but my only thing would be, what are they putting in that sponge, you know? That's what I don't know. What else is in there? Oh, towel, yeah, but what's going in the towel? That's the thing. So I'm not really well-versed on that one. Okay, so we'll move on because I know we have a bit to do. Okay, so hopefully you guys are finding this entertaining. Wakey, wakey. Okay, another thing. So those are like a lot of, I think I'm going to talk, no, I don't want to talk about our body. Okay, one more thing, EMFs, okay? So we're still talking about our environment. So if you've never heard of an EMF, it's an electromagnetic frequency. And that's coming from this right now. It's coming from cell phone towers, if there's any out here, for gosh sakes. Coming from anything that's plugged in. So anything, a blender, an alarm clock if you have it plugged in, anything that has electricity, refrigerators, stoves, anything magnetic, anything with a frequency, our phones and stuff. So first of all, I have to say, do not, rule number one, do not put this by your boobies. Don't ever do it. If you're a guy, don't put it by your testicles. Don't put it in your pants. You don't want this thing anywhere near any of that stuff if you can help it, okay? So here's, possible negative side effects of EMFs. Cancer is one of the bigger ones. Reproductive health, sleep disruption, which I think we all know when using these. That's why we have blue light blockers, blah, blah, blah. And headaches, which I don't know about you, but this thing gives me a headache. Not just because of all the messages, but because looking at it literally gives me a headache. And I think a lot of that too comes from the waves from your phone. Like if you're talking on it. And it also, another thing you could do too, they have all sorts of shields you can use, right? You can use crystals in your house. There's certain crystals that are good at, and I can't name them off the top of my head, but I know you can use certain crystals to purify the air in your house. And if you believe in that stuff, and then shields you can use. And a great thing you can do is every night you can have a timer on your Wi-Fi. If you have Wi-Fi, which I think most of the world does, you can turn your Wi-Fi off every night, much to your family's dismay. And so at a certain time you can have it off, maybe when you're sleeping for the most part. And that just takes away some of the EMFs that are coming in your house. Even if you have neighbors, you just do what you can. So using Bluetooth, and I'm not really convinced, honestly, that Bluetooth is even better for us but I'm pretty certain that holding this thing up to here by my brain is definitely not a good thing. So until I can figure something else out, because I have to live in the modern world, I do Bluetooth a lot. And my children, for heaven's sakes, don't talk on a phone. If they have to ever talk on a phone, it's on speaker. So yeah, we want to avoid EMFs. You can use shields. You can turn off your Wi-Fis. You can unplug things when you're not using them. Not like your fridge, but other things. And so there's really only so much you can do with that. I need to get a little shaken. Okay, so now let's talk about our body, okay? Because we're just scooching right along here. So we've talked about environments. And now we'll talk, did I talk about, oh, here we go, water. That was the next thing I was gonna talk about. So water, we take showers in, we should be drinking a lot of it. So one thing you can do for reducing toxicity is not drinking bottled water, number one. So don't do what I'm doing. Get disposable cups, make sure what they're lined with. So make sure what you're drinking out of is not a plastic cup. Because I see people are like, oh, I'm doing good. I'm not having a bottle of water. And they're having a plastic one. I'm like, what are you doing? And like, you might as well just be drinking out of here. So I know why they're doing it. It's just not working healthful for them. So getting a water filtration system. I will say I have a Berkey unit. I do not use Berkey filters just because there's been a lot of controversy around it. And when there's controversy with a product, I'm more likely, if there's a question, I'm more likely to just be like, I'm done. I don't want to, if there's not full transparency, first of all, like if I ask a company a question and they are not honest or giving me an upfront answer, it's already a no, you know? Like if you come to me and ask me a question about anything I make for Sparkle and Shine, it's on there. You can see, I will tell you, I'll even send you a picture of the kind of stuff that I use. So make sure that where you're ordering from is good. This is where you have to do your due diligence and educate yourself. Listen to 8 million podcasts. I would not recommend learning this information on Facebook. Any person in the world can go on Facebook and be an expert and say whatever the heck they want, and they often do, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, kill me now. So try to like find educated people that do a podcast that are putting out statistics that aren't like from fake news sources, because it's hard to live non-toxically and find this information in today's world, because people, they'll say, you know, like that one person's like, oh, 60% isn't absorbed in your skin, and you know, they ended up working for some chemical place. I'm like, okay, of course, well, that's fine. You think that. So always think about too, where are people, what is their motivation? You know, like a lot of times money is behind, like for instance, our nutritional guidelines. It is big food groups, the dairy industry, the poultry industry. So the American Heart Diet, right? Who's funding that? I'll tell you who it's not. It's not like the people trying to heal and reverse diabetes, okay? So I'm just gonna put that out there as a little side note. Okay, so I gotta stay on track here. So we're talking about water filter systems. Okay, so I have a Berkey. I have a different filter in it because it fits different filters because I don't like their business. And I don't like it. I just don't like it. So I got my Berkey and then I learned some more stuff. And like I said, this is where you pivot and shift and you make better choices. My saying is always, know better, do better, right? So I can't know everything. I have to learn just like you guys. And when I learn something, I have a choice. Do I want to keep using this product that I know is bad? Like, do I want to keep eating the Oreos? I know they're not good for me. Or do I want to switch to an organic Oreo knockoff? Which I did. So just make your choice. Now, so I just have a water filtration system that is a gravity one, and it filters with filters in it, right? So where I live, we have fluoride. I will tell you, you don't want fluoride in your teeth. You don't want it from your dentist. You don't want it. It is, okay, it hardens your pineal gland, right? That's not good, okay? We don't want to calcify parts of our body. And anything that does that is not good. It is known to be obviously bad for your brain. And I can't remember the name of what it's actually called, but it's called something bad, right? Like it has a name, and I can't think of it right now, and it's okay. You can like Google why is fluoride bad. But I would not recommend fluoride in your water. I would get it out, and I would say no to every dentist that ever says, well, you need it for strong bones. I would say, bull crap, no, I don't, thank you. That's being proven false. And no, don't have Crest either. Don't use Crest toothpaste, and don't use toothpaste with fluoride in it. Not a good thing. And so when I'll be giving you these little tidbits of my opinions in this class, you can go home and you can drink a gallon of fluoride if you want and some mouth solution. Don't do that because I'll probably get sued. But anyway, you can make your choices, and I'm going to say stuff to you, and then it's up for you. It's a suggestion. Maybe you go learn about fluoride if you've never heard that it's bad for you today. Okay, so the next thing, food. Obviously, what goes in us creates us. So the food we eat literally becomes our blood, our tissues, and our body, right? And I'm not walking around a big Impossible Whopper burger thing. I do eat like celery, broccoli, lettuce. I do eat other things too, cookies. So little parts of me are little things. So ways we can reduce chemicals in our food. I already told you about glyphosate, right? Glyphosate is sprayed heavily on our foods right now. Among other, there are many, many other pesticides they use, okay? But that's just one of the big ones we know causes cancer. It's not the only one, let me tell you. if you go look up the other ones too, they will probably do the same thing. So try to buy organic if you can, which I know is expensive, but you either spend it in the grocery store or you spend it in the doctor's office. I personally don't go to doctors, so I like to spend it in the grocery store. I'm a foodie. Okay, you can not use plastic for storing your foods. So if you use plastic to store your leftovers, even if you go out to eat, right? I'll come home and I will put mine into a glass container if I have leftovers. So it's like little life changes you have to make and decide if you want to do or not. Okay, watch what you eat, obviously. You can't go out eating Sonic every night and have a healthy body. It's not possible. You just can't. So I said Sonic. That's so subliminal because you wrote Sonic, but you know what I mean. Now here's another thing you might not think about. When you go to Starbucks, because hey, I travel all the time, and sometimes it's the only thing on the road. I know that their coffee is full of toxins. I know the creamer is full of toxins because soy is heavily sprayed with pesticide. I know their oat is full of toxins, right? Sugar, out the hoo-ha, right? So when you go get your coffee cup, take the lid off, because every time you take a drink, I almost said a dip, ew. What is wrong with me? Every time you take don't do dip either while we're on the tobacco. I don't think anybody here is doing that. Anytime you take a drink of your coffee cup, you are getting a little bit of microplastics from the lid, right? So I never thought about that until one day I'm listening to my little talk show, and I'm like, oh, he's like talking about it, and I'm like, oh, no. I'm like, okay, that's a good thought. Well played, man, on the radio. Okay, so washing your fruits and vegetables, one of the best things you could do. So first of all, eat fruits and vegetables. That's one thing. When you get it, here's how I wash mine. So I do not buy those vegetable washes at the store. I used to, and then I learned a better way. The way I do it is, right now I do baking soda and water. And I'm generous. I don't even have an amount. I just sprinkle it, right? But I've also learned recently baking soda and salt mixed together, like a salt solution, is even better. So guess what I'm gonna start doing? Baking soda and salt. So that is a great way to wash your fruits and vegetables. You let them soak. So if you have to buy something that has pesticides on it, I would just let it soak. And unless it's raspberries, you can't let those soak forever. I don't have a time. At least 15 minutes. And I get sidetracked, so it's more like an hour. No, not even. I mean, you don't have to go that much. I would soak it for like 15 minutes, and then I usually get distracted, so it takes like a couple hours. I'm like, oh, I got to get my grapes out of the thing.
My husband shot a tree up at our farm, and we have like processed meals up there, and he rested it and he left it in the sink in a little bit of salt water, and he just left it there overnight, and it wasn't cool. And I'm like, geez, but it's pretty great. He's like, no.
Salt water. Yeah, it's like what Indians used to do, right? They salted their food. Yeah, that's good. I would recommend the freezer since we have modern technology.
It's just interesting, like, you can't even leave, like, chicken you buy at the store out for.
Yeah, no, it's same thing with eggs. Yeah, it's the same thing. It is. Okay, now, a couple more things that I want to just zip through here. I know I'm just throwing out information, but just grab what you can and then ask me later. Okay, avoiding artificial colors and flavors. So anytime I see FD40, can cause cancer. I don't want it. I didn't even talk about aspartame and fake sugars. Geez, help me. Aspartame is awful. If you got migraines a lot and you drink a lot of diet soda and you know what? Have a regular Coke. If you're going to have a Coke, for gosh sakes, drink one with sugar in it and just drink the crap and then give yourself some milk thistle for your kidney or your liver. So, okay, let me tell you about artificial colors and flavors. And we want to avoid those. Obviously, they're not in our fruits and vegetables, which is why I eat a whole food plant-based diet, right? I try to eat whole food plant-based because I'm obviously vegan, but that includes not having a lot of processed food as well. Processed food is crap. It is just, anything that's fast to make in a box, whether it's vegan, organic, whatever, it's still not healthy. It's not nutrition that your body needs. Okay, so artificial colors are linked to hyperactivity, ADHD. If you have children who are diagnosed with ADHD, if you take those artificial colors out of their diet, you might see a drastic improvement. And then we've got another thing, and probably one of the last things here. So if you've never heard of a certificate of analysis, a COA. So on the subject of food, I take supplements, right? So I try to take vegan, organic, and sourced from not something that says as or from, it actually is that item, right? I mean, it could say from, it just can't say as such and such. That's a bad thing on your supplements. But try to take organic, try to take, you know, whatever other ways you need. But if you can get a COA from the companies that you take the supplements for, or any other product that offers it, if they're transparent and will give it to you, that's a good thing. Companies who won't give me a COA, when I contact them and ask, hey, what's the COA for this vitamin D that I'm taking? And they don't give it to me, I'm like, okay, if you don't want to tell me and be transparent about what's in your product, I don't need to have it. And then you can get your COAs, and what it will tell you is exactly what's found in that compound that you're taking. So it will tell you the testing results. So they usually go get these tested from independent companies. And when they do, they have the test results in a COA, and you can get those, and you can ask for them from any company, and they have to or should give them to you. It's not like a secret. So just put that in your little pocket for some information. Moving on to personal care items, because I know we've talked about personal care items, right? So anything that you're putting on your body, lotion, shampoo, toothpaste, just anything you think about to take care of yourself. Let's talk about tampons too. I'm not gonna not talk about tampons, okay? Something you put in your body that stays there all day, that's not organic, is heavily sprayed with pesticides. And I don't know about you, but I don't want a pesticide-soaked sponge up my hoo-ha all day. That cannot be good for you, right? And like, people do not talk about this enough. It's like, I don't want a pad resting on anything for that long. No, it's not good. Don't do it. Try to get organic if you can. Even if they leak, I would rather leak all over the place and have some organic one that doesn't work that well than a bunch of pesticides. I'm good, thanks.
You know those cups that they make, they're plastic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like,
I don't know if they're plastic or silicone, you know? Because there's still controversy around silicone. And so if it's plastic, I'd be like, no, why do I want to put plastic up there? I don't. So I would say if it's silicone, it's safer. If it's plastic, it's no. Yeah. I don't, but gosh, I can't even imagine if I can't play with that right now. Okay, so personal care items, obviously the fix for that is for you to choose better products, start label reading and learning to label read. If you pick up something and it has all these crazy things, like you have no idea what that means, you probably know it's not like healthy for you, right? So try to find as clean as possible of products. And then a great thing you can do, we're not even gonna get into detoxing, right? Because there's not enough time. But salt baths, okay? So you can do salt baths to detox yourself. And a great one you could do is like 2 pounds of baking soda and 2 pounds of sea salt. Or another kind of salt, because sea salt can be contaminated, but it just depends. So like if you fly a lot, you have a lot of radiation, that's a really good bath to take. And it's heavy duty. You don't have to do 2 pounds and 2 pounds. You could make it a different ratio. But that's something good you could do to detox your body from all this crap that we're putting in it. But make sure if you're using this stuff, your products are clean that you're using, bubble baths and all that stuff. If you start looking, you see fragrance and colors. If you see fragrance, run. That's just another term. It's going to have all those endocrine disruptors that you're smelling, the phthalates. It's going to have heaven knows what kind of other pesticides, toxic things. You just don't want it. So I think, let's see what else we had. So personal care and clothes. We talked about clothes, right? Any of the fast fashion things, like, you know, Sheen, however you say it, don't know, don't care. Sheen. Okay. That company has been known recently to have higher levels of toxic chemicals in them. And it's out there for y'all to go see. Google it and they'll say, yes, we've got it in our stuff. Okay, good for you. I don't want it. Thanks, I'm good. So again, it's got the flame retardant stuff, and we put this stuff on our babies, our little babies who sleep in their clothes all day. We put them in flame retardant things that are toxic chemicals, right? And I know we can't all walk around wearing organic wardrobe, right? But we can do a little, you know, maybe our underwear. I don't know. Just pick something and maybe try to make a change, or maybe one pair. Okay, 2 more things I want to go over. Pharmaceuticals, okay? I hate pharmaceuticals. Hate them. There are so many other ways in nature we can heal our body, right? We underestimate our body and its healing capabilities. I will say, sometimes we need pharmaceuticals. If you break your arm, I'm not telling you, don't go to the doctor. Like, if you got some bones sticking out, please go get some help. Or if you have a heart attack, you know, we have things that are life-saving. But then the minute you get out, you go home and you detox yourself, because everything you just put in yourself, it is not healthy, right? And I only know this from experience. I watched my father die a long, drawn-out death recently, months ago. So it's been like 3 years we've been struggling with this. I mean, 3 years, horrible, right? They approved, at the time, this drug my dad took. Just like, okay, here, take another drug. So first it starts off 20 years ago. Here, Dad, take this pill, right? The doctor gives this. Then it's, okay, now we've got another one because you've got some symptoms from the first pill. And guess what? Oh, we got a third one because now that you've had your statin, you've got some diabetes and you've got some other issues. So it's the wheel of death is what I call it, right? You get one, you get another, you get another, you get another. Along the way, one of his was something that gave him bladder cancer. And it has since been, it was FDA approved and all that wonderful stuff, since been discontinued, right? So what I'm saying this all for is not to make you sad and droopy. It's to let you know you need to be your own advocate. You need to think for yourself. They're not well-versed in nutrition in our medical system. It's not a health system. I call it a killing system. Sometimes it's not a healing system, right? We've got to find better ways to advocate for ourselves. We've got to find better ways to find nature. How can nature heal us? Is there an herb? Is there homeopathy? Is there frequencies, sounds? There's all sorts of healing methods. So just explore that. And if you go to doctors, that's fine. I still love you. Just make sure you're asking questions and getting answers. And you deserve those, and you should have those. It's your body. It's your decision. It's called informed consent. That's all I'll say about that. Okay, last thing we need to talk about, and then we're going to go into a meditation. So we've talked about our house, we've talked about our body, and now the last pillar, I think, is mental toxicity, right? So there's a couple ones I want to touch on. The first one is clutter. I don't know about you, but as a mom with like 15 businesses and all the stuff, I am so overwhelmed that organizing and all that stuff has kind of escaped me. And if you have kids, you know that like stuff comes with them. Like they just automatically, stuff follows them and you have like 15 years of clothes somehow. So that causes, I think, for me, it causes like, just makes me uneasy. It makes me scatterbrained. It makes me upset when I can't find something because it's all cluttered. I look at it and it just causes me to go like that. So if you can find ways to decrease that in your life, that is great. And with that comes dust, right? Dust contains all those things I talked about with you before, and we don't want any of that stuff in our body. And also, it's emotionally draining, okay? I don't know about you, but it literally weighs me down when I have all this stuff around like that. And another thing too is it can cause mental strife because you are so caught up in like, you get all this stuff, then you have all this stuff, and maybe you're financially not needing all this stuff, but it's like we buy stuff that we don't need, that we don't have, we just feel like we need stuff, and then it just accumulates, like bioaccumulates in our house. And so the more you can get rid of that stuff, the freer you will feel, because I'm doing it myself, because it's something I've got to work on. I feel freer in it. The last thing, and this is probably one of my favorite things, toxic relationships, okay? I have no problem with boundaries, and that's only because I'm 45 and I have worked on it. Now, 6 years ago when I had my child, I did, and I let I went through a lot of traumatic birth and things like that, so I did not want my baby to be apart from me. So passing the baby around really gave me anxiety. And I felt like if I didn't do that, people would get mad. Well, guess what? They did. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It's better to set your boundaries and feel at peace and at ease with what you're doing than to let somebody kind of run you over and make you feel like you have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. So here's what I'm just going to run down the way that I set boundaries, because I have no problem doing it. I have no problem cutting people off, which I know is a non-yogi thing to say, but sometimes you have to literally cut people out of your life. And I'm not saying for good. Maybe it's a temporary cut, right? And sometimes it's a full burning of the bridge, and I'm not joking. Like, sometimes you have to let people go forever. And I don't care if they are blood, family, you came out their hoo-ha, they came out your hoo-ha. Like, you have to learn to set the limits. You have to respect yourself enough. So here's how you do that. The first way is you know your values. So you know, okay, you think, what are my boundaries? Why do I have them? Understand them. So what is my boundary? And whatever it may be. So figure it out. Communicate it very clearly to people. Like, make no bones about it. Like, I don't like this, right? Because sometimes people will still hear that and they'll do whatever the hell they want. I'm like, I don't want this. And then they go do this. It's like, are you crazy? So communicate it clearly with the I statement. I don't, blah, I, blah, blah, blah. Then the hardest part for people is following through with the, okay, so communicate it clearly like, hey, I don't want you to be doing this. And if you do, then I'm going to blah, blah, blah. Not like, I'm not saying threaten people like I'm going to shoot you. You know what I'm saying? If this happens, you cross my boundary, this is going to happen, okay? So when you do that, the hardest part for people is then being consistent in your actions and actually going to follow through with what you say you're going to do. And I know because I have cut people off. I told them, no, you cannot do this. They did it. And I'm still like, okay, no, sorry, go away. Go away for your own safety. And then maybe they'll come back later, but you know what? They have crossed your boundary and you told them not to. You deserve to be able to figure out what you want. It's about you, okay? So if people don't like that you want to wear your hair purple, tough titty. You can wear your hair purple. They don't have to look at you. Then close your eyes, right? So set your boundaries, let people know, and then another one that goes with that is practice self-care. So set your boundaries, let them know, follow through with actions, and then while that turbulence is going on, it's going to cause some problems sometimes, but when it does, take care of yourself. Take the time that you'd be spending with a toxic person to go take care of yourself. Do something good, get a massage, go for a walk, exercise, whatever you got to do. Learn to say no, okay? People have a problem saying no. I clearly don't. But learning to say no, even to good things. Maybe I would have said no to this retreat, right? This is a good thing, but maybe I'm overwhelmed in my life and I don't want to, I know I should not do that. So maybe your church comes to you and says, oh, please come, it's for the kids, it's for the cats, it's for the what? Okay, you got to learn to say no. I get it, but there's always someone who can help that maybe is in a better place to help with it than you. And then finally, respecting other people's boundaries. So we can't just walk around and be like, me, I'm wonderful. We have to also, I am. No, but we have to also respect other people's boundaries as well. So those are just ways to deal with toxic people. And I think that's the final thing I wanted to say about the whole non-toxic living thing. I think we've encompassed a lot of things and hopefully some that you can implement today. So what I want to do is, if you wouldn't mind getting your pen, and then if you notice down here on your sheet of paper, there's 5 things. So if you, because we're going to end with a meditation, okay? Because I don't want to skip the meditation. I don't care if you even run a few minutes late. I want to get it in. So write down 5 ways that maybe you've learned today or maybe you've been thinking about for a while. The 5 things that you can do when you leave this retreat today that can better your life in a non-toxic way. And once you get done with your 5, I want you to circle the one thing, just pick one of the 5. One thing that when you leave here today, you're going to implement, or whatever day you're going to leave. Whenever you get back home, what is the first thing that you're going to implement? Because you need to take immediate action when you get home. You know what? I do that too. So I do that. So when I open my windows, because I open my windows from front to back, and when I do that, I turn off my air purifier while I'm airing out the house because I don't want to waste my filter either. It just, yeah. Yeah, because it's bad. Yeah, because you got all, but it's still better than all the crap that's in your house. So yeah, so I definitely recommend just turning it off. That's what I've been doing. I'm like, why am I wasting my filter? I'm like, hello? Like, it's something I should have thought of earlier. Mm-hmm.
But what if we're trying to balance our pH? Because I've noticed that my pH is really bad. I probably should have been to the class downstairs too. But what do we do for
Actually, I would say that is less of a filter problem and more of a nutrition problem. So if you're trying to balance the pH of your body, having a diet that is alkaline based will help you, because they have certain diets you can eat that will, I say diets, you know, different rules you can do to increase or change your pH, right? So I would try a diet instead of the Brita. To you cannot count, I believe, on all just water. Not just one thing will fix that, right? So I would say work on your diet. And water, like, water's tricky because water can be, testing standards can be crazy depending on where you live, what you're drinking. But I would say it's a combination of what you're drinking, and then if it's in the plastic too, if it's in a Brita plastic thing, then you've got that plastic issue too, you know? Okay, so here's what I want to do. So we are kind of running short on time because I talk too much, but I want to do this little meditation. And then how about after class, if you want to ask me questions, I'm going to hop outside because I think lunch is going to happen. So if you want to ask me questions, feel free to, like, I'll be loading up and you can talk to me while I load up, or talk to me outside if you want to. If you have more questions, I'm more than happy, or I'll be around all day too. But I'm more than happy to answer any more questions you have because we're kind of running low, and I'd rather do this meditation and then answer your questions later because I can't meditate with you outside. Is that okay? Okay, so if that's the case, why don't you all just lie down on your backs, because I'm sick of sitting on my butt. It's padded as it is. So why don't we all, I mean, I have to stay up, obviously, but why don't you all lay down and get all comfortable, and we will just go through this short meditation for non-toxic living. I'm calling this the Let It Go meditation. So first of all, get nice and comfy and take a deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth to let it go. Do one more time. Inhale through your nose, and then open your mouth to release and let it go. And now, starting from a place of comfort, just see if you can let your body settle into the ground. And as you continue to breathe deeply, imagine yourself surrounded by a sparkling, bright, white light. This light represents your own inner strength and power, which you will draw upon during this meditation. And now bring to mind any toxic thoughts, feelings, or relationships that you have been holding on to. Allow yourself to fully feel the weight of those toxic energies, even if it feels uncomfortable. But hold those without judgment or shame. And as you breathe in, imagine that every time you breathe in, you're pulling in all of the toxicity from your mind and body that you're feeling, and you're gathering it into a ball in your hands. And as you breathe out, imagine that you're releasing the ball out into the atmosphere, into the light, and it's just dissipating into your surroundings. So every time you breathe in, imagine you're gathering all those toxic feelings into that white ball, and you're letting them flow out as you breathe out and into the environment. Just watch as it dissolves and disappears like fog, leaving you feeling lighter and freer. Just continue to take a few more breaths as you gather those negative feelings and release them into the environment around you. With each breath, feel yourself becoming more and more clear, calm, and centered. And now, with this new feeling of lightness that you've harnessed, I want you to imagine yourself standing at the edge of a clear, still lake. Feel the cool green grass at your feet, the warmth of the sun on your skin, and the breeze blowing through your hair. The surface of the lake is like a mirror reflecting the beauty of the surrounding landscape. As you gaze out across the lake, allow yourself to feel a sense of peace and tranquility. And while you continue to breathe deeply, imagine that you're stepping into the lake and beginning to wade out into the water. With each step you take, feel yourself becoming more and more immersed in the cool, refreshing water. Allow yourself to fully experience the sensations of the water against your skin and the gentle movement of waves. And as you stand in the middle of the lake, imagine that all of the toxicity that you've released is washing away from you and being carried off by the currents. Allowing yourself to feel the cleansing power of the water and know that you're being purified and renewed. As you wade out of the water, you feel lighter and at peace. Now, keeping that new feeling of purity and peacefulness, bring to mind something positive and affirming that you would like to cultivate in your life. It might be a quality like love, compassion, or gratitude. Or it might be a specific goal or aspiration. Maybe you'd like to commit to setting an intention to clean up a part of your life that needs it. Whatever it is, allow yourself to fully embrace it in your heart and mind. And see yourself achieving this thing that you're imagining. And take note of how you feel in that moment and really imagine what it would be like. As you breathe in, imagine that you are drawing this positive energy and allowing it to fill every part of your being. And as you breathe out, imagine that you are sending this energy out into the world, spreading love, light, and positivity wherever you go. Now take a few more deep breaths in and out and feel yourself filling with purity and positivity and freedom. And before we come out of our meditation today, know that you have the capability of changing your toxic habits or lifestyle. It takes education, discipline, and consistency. No one can do this work for you. You have to do it for yourself. Keeping this feeling that you are strong and grounded and free from toxicity, slowly blink your eyes open and take a deep breath in through your nose. And then just let it all slide out. And then just as you're ready, just begin to bring yourself back to the awareness of your body. And then I'll leave you all just there like that as I say thank you for joining me today for this non-toxic living workshop.